this video because it's special to me, as water is very special to me. Live, we're 70% water. Our body is 70% water, something like that. 76%. Hold on here, there we go. All right. Now you get to see my pretty face. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I just got a phone call, which is weird because I should be in do not disturb mode. Hold on for 1 second here. Do. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? T3 here, coming at you live from the beautiful snowy Marmot Ridge. I was so excited last night when I just rearranged my desk and my whole office space. You may have seen me post a story about it, but I had an L-shaped desk, and because of the windowsill, a big part of it was sticking out into the middle of my kitchen. So I decided to raise it up on 4x4s, and then that way I could pivot it into the corner. And there's just so much room for activities there now. It's amazing. So yeah, I love it. It's it makes the room feel completely differently, and it makes me actually want to go sit and work at the computer, sort of. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust the lights in here. Yeah, it makes me want to, every time I look at it, I'm like, yeah, this is a workstation. And, I think things like that are important, as somebody who believes in, the movement and usability of energy, the way you place things in your house can very much affect how your house feels. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in the feng shui, as they say. There we go, it's a little bit better. So anyway, how is everybody doing tonight? Happy New Year 2024. Holy crap. It just boggles my mind. I feel like a few days ago it was, the early 80s, and I was a little kid running around the woods without a care in the world, communing with nature, practicing the skills that I learned from the adults around me by just kind of hanging out in the shadows and mimicking what they were doing. And I say this, regularly, is, one of the biggest struggles when I started teaching was that because I didn't learn these skills in a kind of Western model education style where it's a teacher in a classroom, it was hard for me to equate my learning experience into a teachable format. And it took me a few years to really catch my stride, and part of it was, at first I tried to be like my dad, and nobody can pull that off except for him. And, now 22 years later, after having taught classes in, I gotta look at my journal, 37 different states, thousands of people. I left New Jersey in 2009. It's 2024, and I think of all of the experience I've gained since then. Right now, my life is not quite ideal. I was talking to a friend earlier, just mixing the honey in a little bit. And he goes, "How you feeling, man? How you doing?" And I said, You know that scene in the movie Tommy Boy? And for those of you who aren't familiar with the movie Tommy Boy, it's a Chris Farley movie and David Spade. It is a rather, funny, raunchy, 90s movie. And basically, the son of a successful company owner all of a sudden finds himself in charge of his father's company because his father dies of a heart attack. And he has to travel around the country and try and sell these new brake pads that his father had invented. And all of the people that his father would never have any problem selling, things to, just kept turning him down. Anyway, long story short, there's a scene where in the restaurant and he wants to order some wings and some chicken wings, and the waitress says, "Well, sorry, hon, the fryer's turned off for the night." And then Chris Farley goes on this rant about just it's perfect. It perfectly describes like how I feel right at this moment. So yeah, I wish I could without violating any copyrights cue that clip right now. But yeah, if you want to afterwards go to YouTube and go to or I'll put it in the show notes, a link to the scene I'm talking about, which reminds me I should make a note for myself. So let's talk 2024. So I have been officially living off, as a business owner, not very well, mostly due to finances, as usual. And I think, a lot of businesses are struggling these days, not just me. And a while back I made a GoFundMe, and I managed to raise 75%, somewhere around 70% of my goal. And on New Year's Day I made a blog post and a video talking about how I would really love to close out the campaign, because that would allow me to do things such as hire somebody for 4 or 5 hours a week to come in and do back end stuff on my website. A task that will take me 3 hours will take this person a half hour. And right, so by doing that, sure, I have to pay them, but I now get extra hours I can create with, which is been my biggest problem. Is I'm a creative type. I'm a photographer, I'm a writer, I'm a teacher. When it comes to all of the marketing and all of that stuff and all the hell I went through with Facebook, which is finally over, even though the only thing I really got in the end was the ability to advertise again. I'll take it though. There's just so much I don't know, and I don't have the money to take classes to learn it. Yes, there's free versions. I watch a lot of videos about a lot of different subjects around business and marketing. But regardless, I just don't have the funds to put into marketing, which is why I was hoping to that blog post I sent out in that video that I put a lot of care into and put a lot of energy into. It was received. I don't want to say it was received poorly, but I found out the day after. I found out on New Year's Day that let's rewind a little bit. So, a few years ago, a personal here called Anchored, and she interviews people other than just that have to do with fly fishing. So my friend Mark, who owned Fly Fishing USA, which used to be just right down the street, did an interview with her, and I was like, "Hey, Mark, do you think you could ask her if she'd be interested in interviewing me about what I'm doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So sure enough, I get an email, of her inviting me to be a guest on her show, and I almost yeah, I almost went to the bathroom in my pants. Sorry if the signal is a little weak, guys. We're in the middle of a winter storm, so apologies, but the recording will be crisp and clear. And thank you, Jim, for letting me know that. So anyway, as I was driving to this interview, right, and as I said, I had avoided media for a decade. Every single show that's out there has contacted me dozens of times to be a contestant, and I refuse to, because I believe that those shows, while they may have drawn some people into the wilderness and into nature, they still portray humans and nature as adversaries, and nature is something to be conquered. And that just does not jive with my vision. We are all one. No matter if you are a human being or a amoeba, we are all on a rock that is flying through space at 700,000 kilometers per hour, right? So anyway, I'm driving there, and this is going to be my media debut. Even though I had been on TV before and just short stuff, but this was solely about me, not me working with my dad. And I made a decision that day to tell my full origin story. And the reason why is that I've moved into teaching ancestral living skills and nature connection and awareness as a means of leading people to the healing power of nature. And for those of you who know me, know that, I grew up, essentially as Mowgli, and all of a sudden, 7th grade, parents divorced. I find myself in suburbia, and struggling to meet new friends, but eventually I do. And then all of a sudden I noticed this emptiness, small piece of emptiness inside me. And then this is 8th grade, and we go do something stupid like buy a pack of cigarettes for 85 cents from the vending machine at the laundromat and go smoke Camel non-filters till we threw up on ourselves on the beach. But as I grew older, I started to do more and more different kinds of substances, whether it was cannabis or, you name it, it's gone through my system. Long story short, at 21 years old, I find myself the assistant manager of a mailboxes, etc., which is now the UPS store. And that hole was so big that every day I would go home from work, I would stop, I would get a 12-pack of beer, I would drink the 12-pack of beer between, 7 and 10, go to bed, wake up feeling like crap, go to work, rinse, lather, repeat. And I was in a rut that was so deep I couldn't even see over the sides. I had this friend who was rumored he was dabbling in heroin, and one day he just happened to stop by my house, and I asked him straight up. I said, "Do you do heroin? Do you have any heroin?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." And I said, I want to try something." So I did, and from that day for 2 years straight, you know, I went from a $5 a day habit to an $80 to $100 a day habit. Um, and ended up at one point living in my car on the streets of Newark, New Jersey. Uh, you know, just horrible. And I didn't want to live that way. That wasn't who I was meant to be. And you know, I let that be known to some people, and they rescued me and took me back to nature. And after I got over the withdrawals and the mind telling me I wanted more, it takes a couple months. I noticed that every time I would go out into the woods, that void that was in me all of a sudden was smaller. And then when I'd come back out into the real world, it would open again. So I began to realize that nature, you know, we are meant to, Homo sapiens, the species we still are, we are meant to live in a close connection with the natural world, to prove that it can help you heal from anything. In fact, they're all off to Africa right now for a conference, but I'm working with a local group of medical doctors who are using certain plant medicines to help people heal from PTSD. And they're buying a big piece of land and building a retreat center, and they will do their treatments, and then I will take a group of people out into the woods and show them some skills or something. Where we're still in the initial planning phases, but there's some big money behind this project, so I'm super excited to be a part of that. So anyway, yeah, so nature has the power to heal all wounds, or at least salve them enough. Whether they're internal wounds, external wounds, you name it. That doesn't mean you don't have to do your self work. We all do. But doing it in nature certainly helps. And no matter what class you take from me these days, whether it's a wilderness survival online or a throwing arts class, I'm starting to weave that stuff into there. Which brings me to a point. So, being that I am a one human band here, I am the lone sailor on this ship. I was hoping to have my schedule done by January 1st. I'm still working on it because I've got a lot of exciting announcements, which I'll go over now. So, number one, I was looking at, online programming, both custom one-on-one mentoring style sessions, as well as my public series of 8 webinars that cover everything from wilderness survival, urban survival, animal tracking, awareness, movement, photography. Yeah. Anyway, it's like over 16 hours plus of learning. I was looking at my prices and I was comparing them to other organizations that offer similar sort of things, and I realized that I was perhaps pricing myself out of the market a bit. So, custom classes, I still always operate on a sliding scale based on where you are, or if you're going to come here, what materials I need to gather, etc. With an online program, I pay my whatever monthly fee for Zoom, and it doesn't matter if there's one person or as many as can be in there. It's no extra work on my part. So I thought to myself, it's pretty absurd that I'm charging this large amount of money for a single class. I think it was $100 for an individual webinar, and you could buy all 8 for $400. Well, I am making a drastic change, and to anybody who has taken the all-in-one package already and paid full price for it, I want to sincerely apologize. And that was a huge struggle in making this decision, that have paid for the public. From now on, individual webinars will be $35. That is 2 hours jam-packed full of info, and at the end you get a recording. So for now it'll be a recording of the Zoom webinar, but what I'm doing is I'm also making I'm recording each webinar by myself so I can add more production value, demonstrate some of the things I talk about during the live meeting. So eventually you will get another recording that will be this mini masterclass sort of style thing. I just, it's a lot of stuff to shoot and edit, and those of you who do that for a living know how difficult that can be. So for instance, my webinars used to be, I think they were 100 or 75. The all-in-one package was $400. It is now, or as soon as I change it on my website, it will be $200. And the start date of the next all-in-one series is let's see what I can remember. I think it's in the beginning of March. Or no, it's at the end of February. That's right. I think it's the last Friday in February. So that if you choose to buy all 8 webinars at once, regularly it'll be $200. I am, however, going to be off once I release my full schedule, and I'll send out an email blast about that. I'm going to be running an early bird special for 2 weeks that 10% off if you sign up early, and we'll go from there. As far as other works I'm doing, I am always looking for people to teach. That those help. If you have a group of friends or yourself or interested in a program, if you can get a group of people together to host me for a class, or come out here to the beautiful 14 acres of old growth I live on for the class, I will cut you in on the profits by helping me gather students, because going 2 years without being able to advertise on social media has severely limited my reach. So I'm trying to be as generous as I possibly can without losing my shirt. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can contact me through my website. As far as custom programming goes, just reach out. Another service I offer, if you happen to live around here, is emergency preparedness assessments. So I'll come into your house, you'll show me all your supplies, and I'll write everything down. I'll do a short talk about urban survival. I hate to use that word, I'm trying to stop using it, but then I'll go home, write up a document of what I think you are missing and where you can get it, And yeah, that's going to be a two-tiered system. The second tier is what I just talked about, plus if you sign up for like the premium package, we'll do all the stuff we did in the first one, but we will also design escape routes out of your city, wherever you live. And this is something that can be done online. You know, you can very easily show me, you know, what emergency supplies you have online. Speaking of online, I'm also doing another experiment. I am putting up three, well, at least two for now, possibly three, 2 month long online intensive classes. So they will take place over the course of 8 weeks. It will be a total of 4 2-hour sessions, and class will be every other week for 2 hours. In the in-between times, I'll be sending you videos, homework assignments, documents. The first one I chose to go with was bone tools. So yeah, bone tool making class, 2 month long. You will learn how to make everything from a fish hook to an arrowhead to a spearhead to a knife to a needle to an awl, you name it. Jewelry even. There's not much you can't make out of animal bone. You know, yes, you can flint knap and make wonderful, beautiful stone knives, but the type of rocks that you can flint knap aren't just scattered everywhere. They're in pockets around the world. So if you're in the wilderness and you look long enough, you will eventually find some animal bones. And if you know how to properly process them, you can create all sorts of sharp things, and useful tools. The second 2 month class I'm going to run is going to be on nature photography. And the third one is going to be an awareness and movement based one. And as I said, there'll either be 4 or 5 2-hour sessions, with me sending out stuff in between the sessions for you to work on. So yeah, and I've also the guys from La Primitifs are coming March 3rd through 9th. I think he texted me the other day and said there's only 4 spots left. So if you were interested in participating in that experience, which is going to be amazing, because it's going to be a great class. That is March 3rd through 9th, and that's up on my schedule now. So if you want to learn more about that, go take a look at it. I will put link in the show notes, of course. And I've also put up a bunch of single day classes here on the property I live on. Few that I can think of off the top of my head are awareness, movement, wilderness survival, principles of wilderness survival, and just single day basic classes. So I'm done for the night. Thank you all for attending. It always amazes me that I have an audience that is willing to listen to me yammer on. The only thing that bums me out about this is, well, I suppose I could figure out a way to play pretty stuff in the background instead of just looking at me. But then you'll get distracted and you won't get to absorb all of the information. Anyway, thank you all. You mean the world to me. You are what keeps me going. Every morning I've said this multiple times, I wake up, I say today is the first day of the rest of my life, and I tackle what's in front of me and what I can realistically do at that moment with the tools I have available to me, and then hope that opens up another opportunity. And so far it's actually working out pretty good. It's definitely better than being a miserable, a-hole the whole, most of the time. So That's all I got for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. The light is waning here, and I'm going to go get some snow drone footage before the light gets too low. So there'll probably be a snow drone film coming soon. Thank you, everybody. I am so thankful for all of you. Stay happy, love those around you. Love everyone, love everything, for we all come from the same place and we all return to it one day, and that is the earth. Until next time, peace and love.